Bill Eaton. Bill, how old are you today?
I'm 41 almost. I'll be 41 here in about a month.
How long you been coming up here, Bill?
Be 41 years in a month.
Your whole life. So you're a true cabin veteran. In the truest sense of the word, one of the proud few.
Yes, I am.
Alright, so I'm here with my cousin Joe Zentarski. Joe, how old are you today?
49.
49.
49 am.
And how are you related to the family?
I'm married to Sam and Flo's daughter, Nanette.
How long you been coming up to the cabin?
Oh gosh, since probably 1984. 20 years?
That's a long freaking time, brother.
I'm not compared to some in this family.
Yeah. I'm sitting here with Kenneth Bays. Kenny, so first thing I'm asking everybody is basically just a little bit about you. Your age. How old are you?
I'll be 46 September 4th.
How long have you been coming up here?
Ever since I was born.
I'm sitting here with my cousin Karen. Karen, I gotta ask you a personal question. Bear with me, you can lie if you want. I just need to know how old you are today.
37.
You're 37 years old today. How long have you been coming to the cabin?
I've been coming to the cabin for 12 years.
12 years. You're married to Gary.
Yes.
How'd you meet Gary?
Him and I met, I used to work in a grocery store. I kind of knew him from there. And then we ran into each other at a meeting. And then that's how we hooked up. And he said, don't I know you from somewhere? That's kind of how the little... And then we just started, he got my number.
Hey, bye! All right, that's good. Diana Putnam, my sister. Diana, feel free to lie, but I have to ask you the question. How old are you today?
17. Actually, 39.
Diana, 17 going on 39.
Yeah. 39 going on 17.
How long have you been coming to the cabin?
Since I was in my mommy's tummy.
Your whole life? Okay, I'm here with my cousin Nanette.
Hello.
Nanette Martell.
Zentarski.
Zentarski. Apologies, of course.
But I don't mind Martel.
Martell Zentarski.
Martel's good.
She's gonna Joe hear that. So, okay. Oh, he's going to hear this. Sorry, Joe. Love the hairdo. So, Nanette,
Yeah.
how long you been coming to the cabin?
Oh, well, I've been coming up here since I was probably 2, I think. But I don't remember. I remember coming up here since I was probably about 5 or 6.
5 years. All right, this is Gary Biggs. Gary, how old are you?
Why?
Because you got enough. I want to know your birthday anyway.
47 years old. Just turned 47 in May.
How long you been coming up here?
44 years. 44.
Smitty, how old are you today?
Today, 65 and so many months.
65 and counting.
Yeah,
How long you been coming up here?
about 45 years.
Okay, I'm sitting here with my mother. Mom, for the record, just so we know, don't be offended, but how old are you today?
Today,
Yeah,
how old do I feel or how old am I?
either one.
I am 62.
62.
I was born in 1942, so that's legit.
All right, this is my cousin, Tony. Tony, how old are you today?
I am 39 years old.
Damn, you're old.
Yes, I am. Guilty.
How long you been coming up here, Tony?
Since I was first born,
39 years?
Mom and Dad brought us up as babies. I first started came up there as an infant.
My good friend Rusty Bowles. How old are you today?
40 years old.
And how long you been coming up here to the cabin?
I would say between 8 and 10 years. I was invited many, many times before that.
right, I'm sitting here with Jim Magdaleno. Jim, how old are you today?
I turned 51 2 weeks ago.
51.
Yeah.
Christ, you're young for your age.
Yeah, I wish I felt that way.
Holy crap.
No, I actually feel quite good. I felt quite good.
How long you been coming up here?
Oh my God, Kenny first brought me up here, I guess, about 15 years ago, I guess.
All right, I'm sitting here with Matthew Hembry. Matthew, how old are you? 12 years old. How long you been coming up to the cabin?
Since I was like that big.
Pretty tiny guy, man. So pretty much your whole life.
Yeah.
That's true. You've been coming through your whole life. So you're a veteran. You fit into the elite group. Sitting here with Doug Hembry. Doug, how old are you today? 44 years old. And how long you been coming to the cabin?
Oh, since I was about 14 or 15, about 30 years.
So you're an old timer, man.
Yeah, I'm old. But you're getting there too.
Yeah, I'm old.
All right, this is Doug Hembry. Now I'm getting to do the interview. I'm here with Joe Eaton. Now he gets to tell us all this stuff since he's putting everybody on video. So how old are you now?
I'm 38. 38 going on 37.
So how old were you when you first started coming up? Can you remember?
Before I was born. I was up here when I was still in my mama's belly.
So you knew the place before you saw it?
Yep.
You came up here.
First time, well, I'm going to tell you about how I met Francis. Probably the same interview, I don't know.
That's all right.
I was working at AC Transit. Francis was a mechanic. And we had seen each other off and on in the shop. And one day we was in the line to punch out on the time clock. He says, Smitty, you want to go with me to San Francisco, help me move some stuff? I said, sure, I have nothing to do. Single man and all that. And so I said, sure, I'll go with you. So we went over to San Francisco and we helped move some of the Chinaman stuff.
Oh, dog.
I don't know if
What are you doing?
I don't know if you remember the Chinaman. He gave us a Mercury and an Armoire, and we just cleaned his apartment out. because he was moving Alameda. So that was the start of the story of coming up here. He invited me to come up here and with him one time. The rest is history on that.
Well, I was going to ask you to tell me your very earliest memories of the cabin. What do you remember?
Coming up here with Francis and Dad. It's probably the earliest. I'd say I was about 5 years old, and I remember we were living with Francis at the time. And Dad would always say, go out and fill up the water bottles. And we used to fill up 20, 30 1-gallon milk jugs full of fresh city water to bring up here to drink. And we'd come up here and we'd ride in the back of the truck all the way up.
All the way up.
Being up here and fishing and hunting, and Ruth and Belta and Flo and Mom and Dad. Oh, it's family. Hasn't changed much.
See, I don't remember the chicken shed like my brother might, but I remember the garden over where the clothesline is. There used to be a garden there at that location. I remember being there with my mother. It was a real brief, recollection that I have, but that's the earliest I could think back of being here.
What were you guys doing? I mean, is it?
We fought. We would play in the mud, because the soil's so rich. You can make really good mud. So Gary and I would basically play in that stuff.
So your mom would make you guys mud, and then you guys would
just from watering the garden.
Yeah,
we're out there playing in it, and then when the day was in, that's when you get the hose and just hose you down, which still happens today.
Yeah, that's
with some
very
kids.
cool.
Yeah.
I think that family reunion, that I remember that. I'm not sure what year that was, but that's when Dad had a 64 Impala, and it was just the three of us kids then. It was just Debbie and Andy and me. And that's when Aunt Luella and everybody came, the whole family, from everywhere. Aunt Luella and all the kids, and Monty and Mary, and everybody. Aunt Lily Merle and Uncle Marvin, and just the whole family was here. Everybody. It was just great. Cousins, everybody was here.
Probably coming up here when we stayed out at the shack out there with my mom first started dating France. We come up here, he worked like swing shifts, so we wouldn't leave till after midnight, So we get up here like 3 in the morning. But I remember in his old Chevy driving by here, going past his house, and I'm leaning right up like the dogs over the front seat, and staying out there. That's probably what I remember early. And then us going to Lucerne swimming.
Didn't go to Nice then?
No, we used to go to Lucerne right there. I remember
that
Francis would make us drink a soda before we got in the water too. He wouldn't let us go in the water till we drank a soda. We used to get mad. But I remember riding his back, swimming. He'd swim way out there, and I'm just holding on him, riding his back. No flotation device or nothing. If I was little, he could just swim with me on his back. It was cool. I remember just hanging on his neck, and he's swimming out there,
I'll never forget when I was probably 6 or 7 years old. Always wanted to go to swimming, and no one would take us. And your dad would put a stick out in the middle of the orchard. He'd drag us all out there and say, when the shadow reaches here, he put a little line in the dirt, come and get me, and I'll take you. And I think every 15 minutes we'd run out and check that stick because we were so eager to go when they were playing horseshoes or dominoes or whatever they were doing. But as soon as that shadow hit, he'd say, get in the truck, and we'd all go.
And we'd load up that truck.
And we'd load that truck with big old giant inner tubes. Those, I think they were from AC Transit, the big giant inner tubes. We must have looked like hillbillies going out
Well,
there,
we were.
But we were having fun.
And we'd stop at that gas station and fill them up.
And it was one of the best times in the world, I thought. as a little kid?
It was, I want to say it was for Memorial Day, 1992. And
You were in 92.
and we came up Highway 16, 505, and Gary's little Toyota truck, you know. So I remember coming up here, and I remember being really, really nervous because I was going to be meeting people for the very first time. And I was wondering, you know, how that would be, you know. And when I got here, and I remember him and I being the first ones pulling in. He got up early that day, so we were the first ones pulling in. And it was just him and I when we first pulled in, so it was really, really quiet. And then people started coming in. I got to meet everybody. But from the time that I got here and the time I left, I was in love instantly because it was just, the family was so wonderful to me. People I had just met that day or whatever, it's like I'd known everybody for 10 years. They were so good to me, so good, you know. And that's something that really, really, you know, just stuck with me forever. And I'm like a kid in an amusement park when it comes to this place, you know. I can't wait to get here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's good. First time I came up here, it was with Kenny in the back of Francis's pickup truck in the camper. I was about 14 years old. And the first time up here, drove in, it was like I was welcomed into the family as home. You know, have fun, let's go. Or, you know, everybody up here at that time, you know, come over here, we're going to teach you how to play horseshoes. You know, and just places to run, things to do, you know, work, play.
Party like a rock star?
Yeah, but, you know, that was the time, you know, we got to worry about our kids doing that now.
Yeah.
See, we did it and got away with it. You know, we're going to catch our kids.
Right, right. Do you remember your first time you ever came up here?
Oh, clearly.
Tell me about that.
Well, Nanette and I lived in Walnut Creek, and we decided to go do a little wine tasting in the Napa Valley. And we did quite a bit of wine tasting, as a matter of fact. And we were at the Christian Brothers Winery, which is on the north end of the valley. And Nanette said, she said, let's go to the cabin. We're not far from there. So I said, sure. So we came up here, and when we drove in, nobody had been here for several years because Francis had just died recently, and towards the end of Francis's life, everything that happened with him and his accident and all that, people had stopped coming up here for a while. There was, you know, a pause, I guess, in the tradition of everybody coming up here. And when we got here, the grass had to have been 4 feet tall, and we had to break into the cabin, you know, to look inside, and it was totally ransacked. You know, people off the highway had broken into it and just thrashed it out, and it just looked terrible. And she said, well, in your best judgment, what would you tell my mom to do at this place? And I said, well, I think the best thing to do would be to have the Nice Fire Department burn it down as a training exercise for all the fire department. And then they could, you know, put a mobile home or rebuild or something. But I said, this place is not savable. Well, then the following summer, by that time I'd gotten to be pretty good friends with Bill, and we all decided to come up here maybe a little bit and maybe just clean it up and hang out around the outside of it before we tore it down, you know, or burned it down or whatever. And one thing led to another, and we start cleaning up the place inside, and then other people start coming up, and about 100 dumpster loads later, we said, you know what, maybe we can save this place. And then everybody did a little bit of work on the place, and did some wiring, and added the bathroom on, and it's the best thing any of us ever did. Offhand, I don't know if it's the best story, but it's my favorite, I think. This is the time Bill Eaton and his dad, Leo Eaton, and I decided to go catfishing one night out on a pier. It was pretty late. We'd had several adult beverages, and then we decided to go fishing later on that evening. And so we're out on the pier, the Nice Pier, and you walk out a real long pier, and then there was a big landing out there, big enough to put lawn chairs and all that on. And through the course of the night, Leo fell asleep in a lawn chair right there at the end of the pier, and I fell asleep at the beginning of the pier, and Bill fell asleep around the corner over by where the water passes into the marina. I woke up about 5 o'clock in the morning. It was really cold, so I woke up Bill and said, let's go get your dad. I was raising him. And we're walking down that long pier to get Leo, and we get about halfway there, and we're real quiet, and we get about halfway there, and all of a sudden Leo stands up in that lawn chair and walks over to the edge, and lifts his leg up, and down into the water he goes. And it was a long ways down. It was about 20 feet down. The water wasn't that high. And Bill and I are right there, and we're looking down there, and we're looking at each other, and we're looking down there, and Leo, he was a big man, and he bounced off the pilings on the way down there, and he hit that water. And I know at that moment we both wanted to laugh, but we were scared, because I'm thinking, I'm not going in that cold water. That's your dad. You're going in. If anybody's got to go in. And all of a sudden, Leo breaks the surface, and he says, what am I doing here? And I said, I hope you're treading water, you son of a bitch. And we just started laughing. And we get him in the truck, and he says, well, take me to my truck. I'm going home. I'm too embarrassed. I can't go back to the cabin. Oh, don't worry, Leo. We won't tell anybody. Nobody will know about this. This is our little secret. I don't think Bill and I went to bed that night because we couldn't wait for the first people to wake up so we could tell everybody our story. And but that and then the funny thing is, so I had to go back out there and get Leo's lawn chair and his pole and all that. And as I'm reeling in his get up, there's about an 8-inch catfish on his line.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I love that story, Joe.
Yeah. Well, Leo's a good man. We all miss him.
Yeah, we sure do.
My fondest memories is during the summer, Grandma frying chicken and eating corn on the cob and drinking iced tea out of those metal-colored tin glasses.
Yeah.
That, for some reason, just smelling it, you know, the dinner cooking and stuff. That was wonderful. That was great. Because, like you said, there's so many things up here that are wonderful. You know, they almost get lost in a blur because it's almost expected, you know, that you're going to have a good time. But that with her, I think it sticks in my mind the most because that made it feel like home.
Yeah.
You know?
I understand.
We had a big windstorm up here one year. And all the power up here used to be all aerial. And one year the damn branch fell out of a tree and broke all the lines out of the power lines here. We didn't have power here. So I came up and I was like a first or second year apprentice. So I'd be about 85, 86, probably about 86, 87 maybe. And that time I just had enough knowledge to be dangerous and picked up an old pair of heavy jumper cables and hooked onto the lines and bypassed the meter. And that's how we had power here for probably 2 years. You know, people call me at home, Bill, we're here and we really need power. How did you hook that up? It's like, oh, geez, no, you can't do that. I got to do that. Oh, God, Joe would call me, Josie, he'd say, Bill, I can do it. Just tell me what I got to do. So I'd be on the phone going, okay, you got to get up on something. And up here, we didn't have shit for ladders or anything. We'd get up.
Broken down bench.
Yeah, or sawhorses, I think.
Yeah.
Broken down sawhorses and shit, and would make. And you get up there and jump a cable, and you click onto this and click onto that. And
you know, that's what got the whole renovation of the cabin going.
Yep.
Because one night, and we'd stopped and had 1 or 2 cocktails. We'd had 1 or 2 cocktails earlier in the evening, and it was quite late when we got here. And we jumped up on that rickety old bench, hooked up the jumper cables, and right then and there, Bill said, you know, we keep doing this. One of us is going to electrocute ourselves, fall down, burn the place down, and that's how we're going to be remembered. He said, we got to do this right.
But what really started it was about a year or 2 later, we were up here for Memorial Labor, or 4th of July or Labor Day, and we were all here for a week or something, and PG&E pulled up.
That's right.
PG&E pulled up They looked over, they saw the jumper cables, the guy shook his head and he went, oh my God. He didn't say another word, he just took off and left. And that's when I said, man, now we have to fix it.
That made Bill a little nervous.
We got busted. Because we were all sitting out here playing horseshoes and I saw the PG&E truck coming, I go, oh shit, oh shit.
I have quite a few, but one time was cute, and this was with your dad. And your dad, you know, we came and we all hugged him and stuff, and he goes, "Where's that Gary at? He hasn't come over here to give me a hug yet or kiss. Where is he at? Where is he? I haven't seen him yet." It was just cute, you know. He was talking about kind of reminiscing back in time and stuff, and it was just really neat to talk to him and things that he had said, and also, you know, all of our singing and our dancing and getting together and just all the laughter that I get out of this place with everybody, and I just can't wait to see everybody, you know. It's kind of like that, so.
Okay. Probably it's not my first memory, but it's my most memorable, is the time that we're sitting around the kitchen table and Francis asked you, Joey, to go get him a beer. And you went out to the car, and I think it was storming outside and it was raining, and we're all sitting around the kitchen table, and you ran out. You were only probably 7 or 8 years old. You ran out to get him a beer, and Francis gets up from the kitchen table and sticks his foot in front of the door. And you try and come back in, and you can't get the door open, and Francis is going, "Joey, don't be stupid." "Joey, don't be stupid."
He wouldn't let me in the cabin.
He wouldn't let you in. It took you a while to get to talk him into letting you in. But that was probably one of my most memorable moments because it was hilarious.
Joyce telling stories, spooky stories. She was really good at telling us spooky stories. I remember that. And I remember her teaching us how to play spoons. And I remember we loved playing spoons because whoever lost, you'd have to do something daring. And I remember one time Andy lost, and he had to go put on Debbie's baby doll pajamas. And while the adults were in the kitchen playing rook or dominoes that night, he had to go in there with Debbie's little pink baby dolls on and go in there in the kitchen and walk around the adults, and he had to say something, I forget what it was, but that was his dare. And that was one of my favorite, it was the funniest thing I ever saw. That, you know, Andy and baby dolls.
Oh man, I wish I'd have seen that one.
Yeah, that
would
was
have been
pretty
worth
funny.
it.
Cabin story would probably be when Tom told us this chainsaw story, and it scared me, and I went running to my dad crying.
What was the story? You remember?
It was about this guy whose wife died, and he was just crazy, and tourists would always come up on his hill, and he would kill them and stuff. And then me and Brianna went screaming, and my dad said, "Why you come to me?" And I said, "'Cause you got a gun." So.
That's a good story, dude.
You're part of the group.
Favorite cabin story?
You know, it's got me come up here so long with, you know, everybody. There's a zillion stories I could tell about this place. But one that sticks out in my mind, and it's kind of funny because it was Margaret's first trip here when I first brought her up here. It was me and Kenny and I think Rick Crenshaw. You know, there was a whole bunch of us. So we're up here in the middle of the night, and I heard Gary talking about this earlier, so I'm going to bring this story up. We're in the back room, and it's, you know, cold and wintertime, so not a whole lot of outside stuff. We're in there, and Kenny comes running out of the kitchen calling for me. Doug, get in here, get in here. So he's got his gun in his hand, and he's in the kitchen. I'm thinking, you know, what are you doing? And he goes, "I swear to you, there's a rat in this kitchen that big." And he's holding him. He goes, "It's bigger than Richmond Alley cats. This sucker's huge." So he's got his gun, and he goes, "And sheetrock's cheap. If it comes back out, I'm going to blast it." So we all think he's kidding. Well, we went out and we had pizza that night, and we had a bunch of pizza here. And we set it up, and I think it was Crenshaw's girlfriend at the time. We all get up in the morning, and the pizza was on top of the stove. Pizza's gone, except for a couple pieces. And there's these huge footprints on the stove and on the foil. It looks like a rat. So the next thing we know is we turn around, and the people that were all sleeping and didn't know about this rat are now eating the pizza that the rat just ate.
Oh, nasty.
So then I go walking through there, and I'm thinking, yeah, Kenny, you're dreaming, until I saw the pizza, right? And then all of a sudden I saw this sucker come out. And it's as big as your dog's. And I'm thinking, holy crap, get my gun.
It used to be just like this ditch here. Now, not quite as deep. You can't see it's off camera, but we all know what it is. There was another ditch that ran towards the slough. And it wasn't quite as deep, but it ran straight out. And I remember playing with Renee and Terry and Bill and I in that ditch. And one time Renee and I snuck up on Bill and Terry, and they were kissing right there in that ditch. And that, from that point forward, they were known as kissing cousins.
Several years back, we were playing horseshoes. I think the tournament was going on. It was going late night, one of those deals, and there's probably about a dozen of us out here. And was it Karen?
Maybe. Oh, I know what story. Yeah, it was Karen.
Karen was sitting at on the bench next to the picnic table. She was keeping score of the game, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, she stood up screaming, "Ah, ah!" She did this dance and then looked down at her leg and was just in panic. And a bat had somehow landed on the ground and crawled up her leg and was attached to her pants. And me and all the rest of us were kind of scared to death. We couldn't help her, but Mags was the one that went over and was able to pick the bat off her leg, and then he went over and put it on a tree.
It's been about, I think, four, maybe 5 years ago now, out on this side of the orchard, which is the eastern side of the property. I used to pitch a tent out there. I'm a lazy bastard now, I don't do that anymore. But I used to pitch a tent out there, and I love to sleep outside. And Kenny and I enjoy good cigars, and we generally buy a really nice expensive bottle of scotch and enjoy it. And once in a while there'll be another family member who wants to take a sip off it, but generally the bottle of scotch is safe because nobody else drinks that stuff. So just before we left, we had a really good bottle that we popped open, and we had a little sip out of it, and we're getting ready to leave. And I don't know what the hell possessed us. Kenny and I had seen some movie or something, I don't know, whatever, Pirates or whatever. And we thought, you know what, let's bury this. And because it was like right now, this is a Labor Day weekend, and it's the last big meeting of the family for the year. And we thought we'll bury it, and next winter we'll come dig it up and we'll dust it off and we'll have a little toast, and it'll just be a fun thing to do. So that's what we did. We buried that bad boy out there, not real deep, maybe about 2 feet under the ground. We had it corked real good, and we're going to come back and we're going to dig that up. So the next year we come back, and both of us had our own idea of where that thing was buried. But we were all within like 3 or 4 feet of, I'm pretty sure, of the spot where we buried it. So we get out there and we start digging around, and we're digging around, and we can't find that bad boy. Well, there was one bad boy who I think watched us bury it, and that was your dad. So Uncle Leo was up here, and he was in the bushes somewhere watching us, and he saw where that bad boy went down. And he's up there right now looking down, and I'm sure he's laughing his ass off right now, and he's probably shaking his head. And I think there are other people that still think it's out there, and they tease us because we buried it, we can't find it. But I think Uncle Leo, God bless him, I think he found that, and he says, "You want to see a pirate? I'll show you a pirate." And he stole our loot.
Hey, one of the memories, I remember when we was lucky we were alive, that time we all went out in that damn frog boat. Me, you, Billy, Kenny, and your dad out there. It was leaking. You were the only one with the life vest, and we're out in the middle of the lake. In the afternoon, started taking 3-foot swells. We're bailing with a coffee can out in the middle, and I mean it. We're lucky we made it in that boat, man.
When was that?
Oh man, you were like 3 or 4, if that. Probably 5. Me and Kenny was young, and that's when I heard that damn mountain lion out here on that property that night, early that morning,
screaming at you.
Yeah.
My favorite story, I guess, is we was up here about in 1980, maybe. I don't remember what year it was. I came up here, and we was all having a party, and we saw a fire in the north there. We saw a bunch of smoke coming towards us. So we said, well, we better get the place cleaned up, or, you know, all the weeds around. So I jumped on the tractor, the old cat, got it started, started riding around on the tractor, disking it up, disking all the weeds up. And Leo come running out to me and says, "Smitty, you got your wallet in your pocket, you're going to lose it." So I put the clutch in and set the brake. And I stood up on the tractor to get my wallet out to give to Leo. And I had been drinking, of course, right before that, and I lost my balance. When I lost my balance, I hit the clutch and engaged the tractor. And the tractor lunged forward. And it threw me off the tractor, and luckily the ground was soft. The disc ran over my foot, but buried my foot instead of cutting it off. Everybody was scared.
Oh, my 30-06 story.
Okay, tell me that one.
Okay, here's the story. At the time I was married to your father, and I have a kind of a personality where don't ever tell me I can't do anything, because if you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to do it. And they were shooting guns, and I was pretty good with the 22 and some of the smaller guns. And there was a 30-06 up here. And I said, "Oh, I want to shoot that." And your dad went, "Oh, you can't shoot that." And he said, "That'll kill you." And I said, "Watch me." So I picked it up, and I shot, and it killed me. It knocked me back. It hurt so bad. And I kind of reacted, and your dad said, "Oh, told you couldn't do it." And I said, "Give me that gun." And I did it again. Because I was just determined that I was not going to be told that I couldn't do anything. And so I did it again, and I ended up black and blue this entire side of my body. And I think that's my favorite cabin story. It makes me smile.
When was that?
Probably, that's a hard thing to say. I'm not sure. In the early 60s or mid 60s.
Favorite memory? What's your favorite story?
Here?
Yeah.
There's too many of them really to probably bring one out, you know.
Anything. Give me something. Story, whatever.
Yeah, like I said, there's so many here, man. There's too many. Then you remember stuff you forgot,
Well, it's like I heard somebody, I think it was Smitty earlier, he said it's all about family, and I'm totally with that one. At my stage in my life and all that, what my dream and what I hope for is that we always keep the cabin in our family, and I know every one of my kids seems like that's the most important thing in their life is the cabin, because they get to come up here with trusted friends and family, and we always have the best time here, and we've all grown up here. And I mean that regardless of when we started coming here, but we've all grown up here. And I think it's the most important thing in all of our lives.
What does all this mean? Why do you love it so much up here?
Family. I can just say it in one word, family.
Good answer. Thank you for your time, Smitty. Appreciate it, brother. Love you. What is your
I come up here
motivation?
now because of the people. I come up here because my kids are here, my nieces and nephews are here. My husband that I have now likes it and comes up with me. I love, he and I were talking last night, and there's not a bad apple in the bunch up here. We love it.
Good.
I suppose I love it a little more because it's a little more familiar to me. But he has committed to next year's horseshoe tournament. We'll see.
All right. Good. Get him in there.
Yeah.
Excellent, Mom.
It's a family heirloom or something. It's a magnet, dude. It's a magnet for to come up here and to enjoy each other's company. You know, they've been doing it since I've been born. You know, and hopefully we could do it long after I'm gone. You know, because it's special. It brings us closer together.
This is my Aunt Flo. And Flo's the owner of this property, and she's one of our family matriarchs, or she is our family matriarch. Auntie, the first question I like to ask everybody is, what is your very first memory of the cabin? When you think of the very first, earliest stuff about this property, what comes to your mind?
Coming up here with the family, that's...
Do you remember your first trip up here?
No.
No. Remember?
My memory is kind of going.
You're pretty
I'm
good.
sorry.
That's all right. When you think about, what the...
But I loved it up here.
Even when you were younger.
Yeah.
And what was your favorite part in the early days, when you'd come up here?
Just getting together with the family.
Yeah.
I love that.
If I was to ask you if there's a favorite story, any recollection that you have, any experience up here that just you like to think about?
Oh, gee, I had so many, I forget.
Any one in particular?
I can't think right now.
No. And what does the cabin mean to you today?
Huh?
What does it all mean to you? I mean, why did you buy the property, Auntie?
I bought it for the family. Place to come and get together. Just relax and enjoy it.
And we do, don't we?
I think we do.
I think you did an amazingly wonderful thing by doing that.
I wanted to keep it in the family.
We appreciate it very much.
I'm glad.
And we love you for that. I wonder, I think Francis would be proud. You
I think he would too.
Yeah.
I wish he was still here with us.
I do too. I think we all do.
Yeah.
But we've done a wonderful job of keeping the place going and taking good care of it, you think? And, I wonder, for you, as, over the last, was it almost 20 years you've had the property?
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of people come and go, and you've always enjoyed it, right? I mean,
I hope everybody enjoys it.
Every day.
That's why I bought it. Because I wanted to stay in the family if we could. I don't know where it'll go when we go, but I hope it stays in the family.
I remember, I'll help you out here a little bit. I just remember when I was younger, a lot of time spent in that kitchen, you and Helen and Ruth and Velta.
Yeah.
I see that in my mom.
Yeah.
You all sitting there playing rook.
Yeah.
And cooking. Auntie, you always made the world's greatest breakfast.
Who did?
You did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just remember in the morning, you'd always feed us cereal first.
Yeah.
Just to get us going and get us out of the house. And then you'd come back a little bit later and ring that bell, and we'd all come in, and you'd have eggs and bacon and toast and hash browns and biscuits.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I love the biscuits.
Yeah.
My mother always made biscuits. So that kind of stuck with me. Seems like biscuits just go with breakfast.
Yeah. Auntie, thank you for talking. I appreciate it. I just wanted a few minutes. That wasn't so bad.
No.
Anything else you want to say?
I just love all my family, and I hope they all enjoy it here.
We do. And the kids will watch this in 20 years, Auntie, so I just want to make sure you have a chance to tell them you love them.
Oh, I love all my family. I'll have to get them back up there. Just enjoy this place.
And we will, and we'll always take care of it. That's our promise.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Auntie.
I'm going to point to my mom because she's, she was raised here, basically.
She's an amazing woman.
And no matter how, sick she's getting, this is the love of her life. You say the cabin, I'm going to go. I want to go. You know, you don't even have to say you're going. I want to go. And she loves this place.
It's like the rest of us.
It's like her bloodline. And I want the kids to have that, you know, the love that my mom and all of us have in their system. Yeah, because it's, I mean, my God, look at it tonight. It's the most beautiful night that you could ever ask for. There's actually no wind right now, people.